Rise and shine, Hoosiers, and welcome back to Season 11 of the Bloomington Breakfast Club. I'm Morgan Ludwig.
And I'm Clara Isaac. Today we are joined by Ed Schwartzman, the owner of beloved BTown restaurant Buffalo's and the new Gables Bagels.
We also have the return of Unnecessary Updates and an all-new segment called Fashion Peaks of the Week.
So grab your cup of coffee, Hoosiers. It's going to be a wonderful morning. We are now joined by Ed Schwartzman, owner of Buffalo's and the new Gables Bagels. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Thank you, Clara. I'm thrilled to be here, Morgan. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you.
Yeah, and so obviously you've already made your successes here in Bloomington with Buffalo's. I don't know about you, Clara, but I love Buffalo's. Like, it's got to be the best wings, the best wings in Bloomington, in my opinion.
Thank you.
But so we're curious, after all this time with Buffalo's, what inspired you to open Gables Bagels now?
Well, it's a long story. I'll try to be as brief as I can be. But about 3-4 years ago, I got an email. And I get a lot of weird emails, owning a pretty popular restaurant in a pretty popular town, and a lot of alumni come and go. And so this email came, and the email itself wasn't so weird. It said, "Ed, do you ship your sauce?" And I said, "Of course we ship our sauce." But on the bottom, I noticed the man who signed it, and I don't want to divulge the name of his bagel shop, but it was a Jewish name, and he signed it with his email. He owned a bagel shop, and he was somewhere in Ohio. And so I got real excited because I love bagels. Bagels are in my blood. My first ever job was as a bagel baker at Slim's Bagels in Bayside, Queens. And so I called him back and I was all excited. And I said, "Of course we ship our sauce. Why do you want our sauce?" He said, "Well, I'm turning 50 and I want to have an IU-centric birthday." And I said, "Okay, great. I'll ship you the sauce. But more importantly, let's talk about your bagel business." He said, "Well, I have 7 stores. I franchise." I said, "Wow, you franchise your shops." I said, "I would love to open up what I consider a New York-style bagel shop here in Bloomington." And he said, "Ed, I would love to open one up there too. Why don't we go into business together?" I said, "One thing at a time. Let me come out and try your bagels." And they're about 7 hours from here. And so I said, "Okay, let me drive out and try your bagels." So the whole drive there, and by the way, as a New Yorker, the 2 things that New Yorkers are always jonesing for are pizza and bagels. And our big lament, and like it or not, is we feel we can never get good pizza or good bagels that we like. Doesn't make it bad that the pizza's different or the bagels are different, but that we like. So the whole drive, and typically whenever I go to a bagel shop, I'm always thinking, these bagels are gonna stink. No, give them a chance. They're gonna be terrible. So for 7 hours, I'm driving up there saying, you're wasting your time. These bagels are gonna be terrible. No, give them a chance. So I drive out there, I park my car, I can see the bagels through the window. I already know I made a mistake. I already know that these bagels are not what I want. They don't look like bagels to me. So I go inside, I try one. He says, "What do you think?" I said, "Jim, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but they're just okay." And so we talked, and I said, he says, "Keep in mind, you don't have to have the best bagel in Brooklyn, just the best bagel in Bloomington." I said, I don't want to be associated with that. If I can't bring in a legitimate bagel that I'm proud of, I don't want to be a part of it. And so on the way out, he said something to me that I thought about the entire drive home. He said, "Ed, by the way, we have another bagel shop in Ann Arbor." He said, "That shop does over $2 million a year." So the whole drive home, I'm thinking, okay, if they're doing $2 million a year with what I consider inferior bagels, what could I do if I could find a legitimate New York bagel and figure out a way to bring them in here? And then COVID, and I thought about it and mulled it over. And like a lot of great ideas, it kind of just went away. And then COVID hit. And the big trend in the restaurant industry during COVID was something called ghost kitchening. And ghost kitchening is a term that means if you have a commercial kitchen, and if you have 4 walls and you already have the health department's blessing to sell food out of your kitchen, can you come up with another concept to sell food out of your kitchen? And maybe you just do delivery only and your customers don't even know that it's coming out of, like maybe you're a Mexican restaurant and you're selling Chinese, or maybe you're a chicken wing joint and you're selling bagels. And I said, wow, because obviously revenue was way, way, way down during COVID. So if ever the time was, that was the time. And so I went on this journey and I started I said, how can I figure this out? And I went to New York, I went to New Jersey, and I finally found a bakery in West Caldwell, New Jersey, that the term in the industry is called par bakes. They par bake the bagels for me. They're shipped out. All I have to do is bake them off. And so they shipped me some samples, and I couldn't believe it. I was eating New York bagels. I couldn't believe it. And so I shared them with friends, and the response was always the same, and the response to this day is the same. Of course, the first response or the first thing is skepticism. Like when people come in my shop now, and I've heard these bagels are good, but there's no way. There's just no way. And I get it because I would feel the same way walking in. And then they try them, and they got that crispy outer shell, that soft inner shell, the soft inside, like a soft, warm pillow, and that taste, the chewiness, and then we make our own spreads. So that's kind of a Reader's Digest version of how we started. We started just going at making them out of Buffalo's. We made it very difficult for people to order. You had to order a minimum of a dozen. You had to order no later than the night before. You had to pick up inside of Buffalo's, which is never easy because there's zero parking. But the energy we were getting just from making it hard to sell and people coming in and the feedback I was getting. And so in a very weak moment, my wife agreed to let me do this, which for me is a victory. I love you, honey, but you know you can be difficult at times. And so I found the spot, which I looked at. I said, oh my God, look at the space. Look at the location. And there's parking. And it's downtown. And it's kind of a sleepy plaza, but I said, let's give it a shot. And we signed the lease on January 1st of this year. And my goal was to be open for graduation weekend, which is in April. Of course, that day came and went, and we weren't close to being open, which is typical in construction. But we were open by August 1st of this year. And we still have some growing pains, and we don't have everything in place just yet. But the response from the community and then the social media love that we're getting it's almost embarrassing. Because, in one hand, I love it, but on the other hand, it's like, oh my God. Like, if they keep building you up like that, if heaven forbid you fall, and so, but we're riding this wave as long as we can, and it's been a great run, and I get a lot of love from the community. And to me, it is a total labor of love. My first ever job was as a bagel baker in Slim's in Bayside, Queens. Bagels were served in my house every Sunday morning. My dad would go out and play tennis. All you have to do is ask the question, by the way. I'll carry the show from here. My dad would play tennis every Sunday morning. He would stop at Slim's Bagels. He'd be done at 8 o'clock, pick up a bag of hot bagels in a paper bag, bring them home. I would hear that bag rustling on the table. He'd open the bag. The smell would waft through the house. I'd come running down the stairs like a Doberman, sensing cheese. And we'd attack those bagels with gusto. And so it means a lot to me. It's not just that I'm selling a product and making a penny, that it literally is a part of my childhood and who I am and part of my culture. And I guess that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, of course. So you talk about your childhood growing up in Queens. What originally brought you to Bloomington, even before Gables, Bagels, and Buffalo?
Good question. My first job out of college, I was a traveling salesman, and I got a job where I traveled the Midwest. I actually was in the garment industry, and I sold suits out of my trunk, and I would go to all these menswear stores from Minnesota to Ohio, southern Michigan. I had like a 6-state area, and I drove everywhere. And needless to say, the menswear industry has gone south, and nobody wears suits anymore. But through my travels, I met a young lady who lived in Chicago. We started dating. One thing led to another, as it often does. We got married. We moved back to New York, and then she missed her family, so we moved back to the region, as they call it, Lake County, Indiana. And we had 2 children there. Sadly, we got divorced. My daughter went to college here. And after we got divorced, the old line, all my friends, all his friends were her friends. And so I just decided to come down here. You can only imagine how excited my daughter Haley was when I said to her, Haley, you know how you're going to Bloomington in a few weeks? Me too. Yeah, she was really excited about that. That did not go over well. But it turned out to be okay. She wound up working at Buffalo's, and all's well that ends well. And I fell in love with the city, fell in love with the general manager of Buffalo's. We wound up getting married. We wound up buying out the original owner, wound up making more babies. I now have a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. Raising kids in this incredible town is a dream come true. I love Bloomington. I love what I do. I love where I do it. And I love who I do it for. And so that's how I got here.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it must be nice to be able to now share your classic East Coast bagels with your family now?
You have no idea. I mean, and also, and obviously I'm a little meshuggah, I'm a little out of my mind, I get it. I love being at Buffalo's because I get to greet people, but there's something special about saying good morning. Good morning. Good morning, folks, welcome. I love saying good morning more than I say, like when people walk in for lunch, I don't say good afternoon, and when they come in for dinner, I don't say good evening. But saying good morning, starting the day, grab a cup of coffee, we schmooze a little bit. And there's a different vibe. You could tell they're just waking up. They're grabbing their coffee. There's a different pace versus, I got to be going. I only have 15 minutes for lunch, kind of thing. It's just a different pace, and it just makes me happy. It just flipping makes me happy.
Yeah. So I think we're all curious now about your favorite bagel. We have to know since you've grown up with bagels.
Okay. Well, the irony of that question is my favorite bagel is probably not even on the table. Okay, my favorite bagel will be an onion bagel.
That's discouraging.
I know, well, because I'm getting them from a vendor, and because I have limited space, there's only so much space I have and so much capacity. As we grow, I can add more. Okay, so probably my favorite would be just an onion bagel, but the one that replaces that would be the everything bagel, or some people call it an every seed bagel, which certainly has the onion flavoring to it. But my personal favorite would be an onion bagel, which is not on here. Or my second favorite would be a salt bagel, which is here. And the main reason a salt bagel is my favorite is my dad, that was his favorite. And every time I picture the salt bagel, I picture my dad saying, I'll have a salt bagel. And then my mom saying, Bob, you don't need all the salt. Cheryl, leave me alone, I'll be fine. And so there's that whole interaction of dad wanting to eat a salt bagel and mom, telling him to watch his salt intake, because you probably should. But so I love a salt. Everything would be number one. Salt bagel would be, of the ones on the table, certainly everything is number one, and salt would be number two.
Of course. So speaking of bagels, I've been eyeing these bagels the entire time. I think it's time we give them a little
Let's
taste
go.
test.
Let's dig in.
I think so.
Did somebody say bagels? I'm not in frame. Did somebody say bagels?
I think we did.
Okay,
Grace
so
just couldn't resist the bagels.
Wide into the foreshot. I'm here. I'm a bagel lover, and I cannot wait to try these bagels.
Do you guys know her? Did she just
I actually broke into the studio.
There you go. The smell wafted onto the street.
Whoa.
Well played, by the way. I would have done.
tasting
Thank
bagel.
you.
Of course.
All right,
I'll have the salt. I'll have some of that salt. Now,
salt bagel.
what I tend to do, we're among friends. I would just rip them in half and go. But I don't know. Are we being dainty here? Because
I don't think so.
I was just
probably
gonna-
not.
Okay, then I'm gonna
We're
do what I
definitely
do.
not being dainty.
All
I
right.
do have a question
And I'm
though.
gonna have everything.
For the
Yeah.
rainbow
Could I get
bagels,
the other half of that everything?
Yeah.
what flavor is a rainbow?
What flavor is a rainbow bagel?
a rainbow
Something that
bagel
we're
is
all
simply a plain
wondering.
bagel
That's pretty.
Oh,
with
no,
food
it's
color.
not even.
And I do want to point out, if you look at the inside of the bagel, what makes
Thank
a New
you
York
for
bagel versus a
tearing my
non-New York
bagel
bagel is the crispy outside. And if you look on the inside, the reason I ripped it in half instead of opening it up top to bottom is you could see the air pockets, and probably, I don't know if the camera can pick that up or not, but that inside, if you rip open a bagel and you don't see the air pockets in there, then, as my mom likes to say, it's just bread with a hole in it. And that's the key, is that it should be fluffy and soft. It should be crispy on the outside. And by the way, all our schmears, as we call them, we make them in-house. And to me, our cream cheese and chives on a salt bagel, you might want to be alone for a few minutes.
Should I try it without the cream cheese first?
Yeah, but it's like,
Claire, you're being so professional. Let's just dig in.
don't be so dainty.
Oh, I also have. So you know how some people call it cream cheese or schmear
Right.
or spread? What do you think the correct term is? Or can it
Well,
be anything?
I'll say, the English language, we have thousands of words for the same thing, right? So I would say either or. Schmear is a Yiddish word. So Yiddish is kind of a bastardized version of Hebrew and German and Italian and all these different languages. It's a language of the Jewish people, but it's not Hebrew. And so words like meshugana, which I dropped earlier, oy vey, we've heard these terms. Those are Yiddish words. And schmear is a Jewish word. Or a Yiddish word, pardon me, a Yiddish word.
So that should be the right one.
Well, what's funny is there's a very good bagel shop. I would say the best bagel shop that I've experienced in Indiana is called Bagel Fair. They're up in Indy. Some of your viewers might be familiar. They
I
do a
love
very nice
Bagel
job.
Fair.
I'm very impressed. I walked in there, and because part of my homework as I was figuring out what to do and how to do it, I hit every bagel shop from here to New York, and that's no joke. And I went to hundreds of them. And I went at the bagel fair, and I said, give me a schmear. They said, we don't use that word. We don't like the word schmear. So it all depends. So they just use, but yes, I like the term schmear. So there's that. So the answer is it depends. Whatever you like is what I like too.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. Well, Ed, thank you so much for the bagels and for taking the time to be on the show with us this morning. We wish you and Gables Bagels the best of luck.
Did you take a bite of the bagel?
I did take a bite of the bagel.
You
It was
did?
a great bagel.
It's a good bagel.
It is a very, very good bagel.
Yes.
Did you say good?
It was amazing. It's an
Devastated.
amazing
It's
bagel.
the worst
Best
review
bagel.
we've gotten.
Best bagel
It's the best
I've
bagel
ever
I've
had.
ever eaten.
How about that?
Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah. And we'll be right
You're
back
gonna go far,
after
by
this
the
quick break. It's now time for everyone's favorite segment, Unnecessary Updates. As always, we are happy to be joined by TBBC correspondent Grace Timpey. Welcome back, Grace. Would you like to start us off?
I would love to start us off. So great to be back. For all the fans at home, yes, I got a haircut. Devastating news from over the summer. We have a lot to catch up on. As we all know, for the last 2 seasons, we've been closely following the romance between Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. And unfortunately, this will be our last update because they broke up. So,
I think we should take a brief moment of silence.
yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
It's like really sad.
I don't know. I kind of expected it. I don't mean to be negative,
No.
but
Everybody
Yeah.
expected
Like,
it.
my
That was the
personal
most
fantasy-
unconventional relationship in
My
the history
personal
of the
fantasy
world.
of Pete Davidson raising Kim Kardashian's children, like it will never come true, which is so sad because I would like love to see him interact with Northwest. Once again, I talk about that every time we mention it, like him as a father to her. So it's sad that that is just not in my future at all, to just witness that. But
well, I read that Kim Kardashian is actually going to start dating men outside of the entertainment industry. She said she wanted to
Oh.
start dating maybe a neuroscience or a lawyer. So
well, she's a lawyer now too. Like
Wait,
Ariana
is she?
Grande. Yeah, Kim Kardashian, she like is a lawyer now.
oh,
I don't know if she's passed the bar.
so
But like
may be.
but like she was doing that thing where like she was like working with the law office or something because her dad was a lawyer. You know Robert Kardashian, the famous lawyer.
Don't look at me.
What?
Wait, so
Do you
I mean,
actually
you
not
have
know
to-
that her dad is a lawyer?
no, I had no idea. I know nothing about pop culture. We figured this out last
Oh, yeah,
semester.
O.J.
we definitely
Simpson?
did.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Oh, like
But that's not her dad.
Kim Kardashian?
no, Kim Kardashian's dad was O.J. Simpson's
represented
lawyer.
O.J. Simpson. This is the first time hearing of
More.
this. You know, hey, listen, it's okay. Even though I am here on Unnecessary Updates, I should know pop culture stuff.
Oh
We've
my
established that I
God.
don't know anything.
First
So.
he's hearing of it. Did you not watch the Ryan Murphy series?
No, I did not.
But I feel like this
He's
segment's
played by David Schwimmer.
I feel like this segment's working because we're updating Morgan. You know,
I'm just an audience member.
We're
I'm
updating
just
Morgan.
We're updating Morgan on the fact that Kim Kardashian's dad was a
Yeah.
famous lawyer.
I'm simply just an audience member for these.
Great.
And then when you finally give me the time to talk, I'm going to talk about some pretentious movie stuff.
Well, it's your turn.
Like,
your time to
speaking of which,
Whoa.
Brendan Fraser, who everybody knows from like The Mummy,
Yeah.
George of the Jungle, you mentioned that before,
Love
and
George of the Jungle.
my personal favorite, Journey to the Center of the Earth. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Ooh, I
that
haven't
movie's
seen
amazing.
this.
But you know, he took that like decades-long hiatus from Hollywood. He's back now with
Wow.
the new Darren Aronofsky film, The Whale.
Oh, Darren.
I'm so you sound
Is Sadie
so
Sink- is Sadie
so
Sink in that
passionate
movie,
about
though?
it, Grace.
Isn't Sadie Sink in that movie?
She is, yeah, she is.
Ooh, then I will see it.
And
That's the girl from Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's set to premiere in December, but
Ooh,
it's
we can
already
all
had a
go
couple
together.
of festival premieres. You guys, I'm sure, have heard of the standing ovation that
At the Venice.
at Venice
Yes.
Film
And he
Fest.
was
I have heard of the
sobbing.
Venice
He
Film
was
Fest.
standing
so
just.
sweet.
I know it's great to
His
see
return to the screen.
the return. Yeah,
It'll be
yeah,
nice.
in such a unique way. You know, I would have
Yeah.
never seen the young, hotshot action movie star Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
from a couple decades ago coming back and doing
And
something
now
so
he's just like some old guy. You know? He's so
serious.
cute.
I was gonna
I'm
say
excited
serious,
for him.
personal, a
Some old
intimate,
guy.
strong story.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
No,
he put
it's
a lot
okay.
into this movie with like makeup and acting
Yeah,
and everything.
he really
so I
put
really am
himself-
excited to
Does
see
he
it.
He's put himself
play-
back out there.
A whale?
No,
No,
it's. I'm pretty sure the story is about like
he's an obese English teacher, I
yeah,
believe, who has
who's
an eating
reconnecting
disorder.
with his daughter, who's
Oh.
Sadie Sink. So you know it's gonna be a tearjerker, and you know it's gonna be amazing.
Ooh, we should go together.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
We can do it like a out of studio segment. Us at the whale.
It's just us watching a movie. Just complete silence.
We set up a camera. We have to edit like a 2-hour long clip.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for
fantastic segment.
my update, you guys. So Netflix is creating a reality competition called Squid Game: The Challenge, based off of the popular Netflix series Squid Game, and they're calling it the biggest reality competition series ever because it's going to feature 456 contestants, and they're all battling for $4.65 million.
Now,
do I sign
correct
up?
me if I'm wrong, but I did not watch Squid Game. But I thought the whole point was that, like, they shouldn't have to kill each other to win all that money to be able to survive. Like, I thought it was, like, social commentary on why, like, that was bad.
It is, but you know, when it
Well,
comes
I'm
to
assuming there won't be any
Netflix
killing.
money,
I'm assuming there won't be any killing in this one.
it'll probably be like, have you seen Wipeout or American Ninja Warrior?
Ooh, I
Those-
love American Ninja Warrior.
Those different game shows about how
Fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Wipeout too. Well, that's really interesting because, like, I feel like Netflix would just be, like, aware of the fact that they're going to get a lot of criticism for it.
They already have, by the director of Squid Games, I believe, who said
The director didn't sign off on it?
Or I think they have signed off on it, but they want their original vision about commentary on like class and poverty to still be included some way, but I don't think that's going to happen with a competition.
It's just going to be, like you said, like a fun slapstick comedy, like Wipeout type reality show.
And like, as a fan of reality TV, 465 contestants, like, how do you get to know any of them? Like, how do you get to love any of them?
That's a good point.
Like
actually.
Survivor, they're being a little ambitious with like 20, you know, dare I say.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I guess it'll be more about like team identity rather than individuals.
Will there be teams in it?
Do you know when it's coming out? I'm curious.
No, they just announced it early summer, around June, I believe.
Next summer though?
Or no, they announced it.
Oh, so we just have
June,
no
so
idea.
we
It could come out whenever.
Yeah,
I mean, it is quite a big thing, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it as well. So I guess we'll see how it
I didn't see
turns out.
Squid Game, so I'm not invested.
Yeah, but that's all we have for Unnecessary Update today. Thank you, Grace, for joining us as always.
Of course.
And we'll be right back after a break.
Welcome back, everyone. I am presenting a new segment called Fashion Peaks of the Week. This season, I will be discussing all things fashion, from street style to red carpet looks. And what better way to get started than to discuss the best outfits from none other than New York Fashion Week. To kick it off, I have to talk about Laquan Smith. For those who do not know, he is my absolute favorite designer, and I would do anything, and I mean anything, to be one of his muses. But we'll get into that another time. Right now, let's all just admire this monochromatic pink look. Laquan is known for making super hot evening and cocktail clothes, but I am particularly excited to see him broaden his daytime offerings, such as this look. The next two looks are, of course, still Laquan Smith, because only picking one look out of his entire collection was simply not possible. I am definitely going to try to recreate these black and metallic looks, but on a budget, of course. That actually just may be my next segment idea. We'll just have to wait and see. Next, we have this look by the Parsons MFA Summer-Spring 2023 collection, and let me tell you, it is absolutely beautiful, from the color palette to all of the intricate details. And I am a huge fan of designers who view fashion through a futuristic and technological lens, so that is why this specific look really caught my eye. And I also cannot forget to mention that this collection was designed by Wei Fan, a master's student at Parsons, who ended up having one of the best collections at New York Fashion Week. If that isn't inspirational, then I don't know what is. The final collection for today is the Mirapollet Spring 2023 collection. The designer, Marcelo Gaia, never fails to perfectly incorporate his Brazilian heritage and vintage silhouettes into each of his collections. All of his clothes make me want to go to a garden in Spain or Italy. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in that garden, but I do know I just want to go. It just seems like the perfect environment for this outfit. Well, although I could talk for hours and hours about fashion, that is all for today. I look forward to sharing more of my fashion faves with you all throughout this season.
All right, great segment, Clara. It is now time for the BTown Buzz, where we share with you some fun events going on around Bloomington this week.
The 29th annual Lotus World Music and Arts Festival starts on Thursday and runs all weekend. Check out the eclectic showcase of artists at various venues around Bloomington, including Switchyard Park, the Buskirk Chumley Theater, and the Lotus Local Stage on Kirkwood.
And on Friday night, you can catch the Legends Drag Show at the Back Door, starring Alice D. and Mahogany Charlotte. Tickets are $10 to $12, and the show starts at 10 p.m.
On Saturday morning, Hoosiers Outrun Cancer will take place at Assembly Hall. The funds raised from the event help provide free cancer support services to anyone impacted by cancer. It costs $30 to register to participate.
And finally, if the Lotus Festival isn't enough music for you, you can catch Clayton Anderson at the Bluebird this Saturday. Doors open up at 8 p.m. and the show begins at 9. And that's all for our Season 11 premiere of TBBC. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We are always looking to feature students, organizations, and businesses on the show. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, contact our executive producer, Lily, at lshareb@iu.edu. Until next time, I'm Clara Isaac.
And I'm Morgan Ludwig. Have a wonderful week, Hoosiers.